Hi, good morning. We're going to do this. And thanks for being here at our December webinar. We have actually live audience with us, Kevin Chapman from Millard School District. He's not in camera view, but I just wanted to put it out there. If you'd like to come and see us live, I think tickets are available. Come anytime. Reasonably priced. So come and watch us live. Here's the agenda for today. We want to talk a little bit about the data conference that we had, or the Student Data Privacy Conference we had in November, just a few weeks ago. We are still recovering. I think we're about recovered from it. It was a long number of days, lots of rides, car rides, a blizzard, and good times. We're going to talk about 2 new training videos. We're going to show you the shorter of the 2 today and get your feedback on whether you would use this video. If you like it, we'll be able to send you the link of it. We want to talk about data response plans because we've had a few issues in Utah this last month, and we want to just quickly review that with you. Also, David, you sent me an article last night. This is what we do all day, all night. It's on our minds constantly, talking about data privacy, but school district in North Carolina.
Well, it's actually the entire county, the county government. One employee clicked on a phishing email. Now all of their files are locked, and to get them unlocked, to get the encryption key, they need to pay I think $23,000 in Bitcoin is what they're asking, and they're not sure if they're going to pay it or not at this point.
Yeah, and it's what I was emailing last night is this is going to happen in Utah. This is going to happen. It's just a matter of time. It's happened before. It will happen again, and if it does happen, please reach out to us, and we'll help you through the process. We want to talk about what our plans are in 2018. So almost the new year, and by 2018, I mean basically from January till June 30th. We have a lot of deadlines and a lot of projects we're working on, and then talk about our open technical assistance afternoon that will be available this afternoon. So, you're in charge of the.
Yeah, I'm driving.
You're in charge of do you want to talk about the conference?
Yeah. So we had a conference. We had a day at the Salt Lake Library. We had a day at SUU campus in Cedar City. We got a lot of really positive feedback, and one of the big questions people had was, hey, can we get a copy of these presentations? And the answer is yes, you can. So here is a link to, we have PowerPoints for all of them?
All of them.
Okay. And there's also a list there of what the presentations were, so you're more than welcome to relive the conference or review as you need. And
of those that are listening today, did you attend the conference? Maybe you can write in the chat what we could do to improve it for next year. Maybe speakers that you liked, feel free to write that in the chat. We did send a survey out and got very positive responses, but our main, we want this to be very helpful to you. Your time is very valuable. I mentioned Kevin's here today. Kevin plays a number of roles in Millard School District, as do many of you listening in, so let us know how to improve that. Now we're going to go on to our training videos, so Jerry's about to show the training video. This is about, how many minutes is this one? 8?
I think it's 6 or 7.
Okay, 6 or 7 minutes long. We want to know what you think about this. It stars David, and actually a lovely actress from us. I won't tell you. It's coming up.
Mr. Belding, can I talk to you about something?
Oh, sure, Jesse. My door is always open. Come sit in carrying chair. What seems to be the problem?
I've been having a hard time in class lately.
I'm here to help.
Well, I'm confused with some things.
What type of things are confusing you?
Well, I've been having a hard time at home.
Hold on a minute. Let's be careful here. Teachers are here to help with school matters, not necessarily matters at home. A student can spontaneously express sentiments or opinions, but there's some information you should never solicit from them. But let's see where this goes.
Well, I've been feeling conflicted because I think It's too hard to say.
This is between you and me. I won't tell anyone.
Depending on what Jesse says, Mr. Belding may actually be required to tell someone. That is, if the student is in imminent danger to themselves or to others. This is especially true if they are having suicidal thoughts or tendencies. In fact, if you don't say something, you can get in real trouble.
Well, I think I'm a Democrat. But I can't tell my parents because I know how they'll react.
There is nothing wrong with being a Democrat. You know, history is full of some super chill Democrats. When did you first realize that you might be a Democrat?
There's nothing wrong with Jesse becoming a Democrat, but there is something wrong with what Mr. Belding is doing right now. I feel like I need to break this down a little more for you to explain what he's doing wrong. Maybe you've heard of FERPA, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, but have you heard of Utah FERPA? If you're familiar with PPRA, Protection of Pupil Rights Amendment, then you may be familiar with Utah FERPA. Utah FERPA states that there are prohibitions on the administration to a student of any psychological or psychiatric examination, test, or treatment, or any survey, analysis, or evaluation without the prior written consent of the student's parent or legal guardian, in which the purpose or evident intended effect is to cause the student to reveal information, whether the information is personally identifiable or not, concerning the students or any family members, political affiliations, or political philosophies, mental or psychological problems, sexual behavior, orientations, or attitude, illegal, antisocial, self-incriminating, and demeaning behavior, critical appraisals of individuals who have a close family relationship with the student or one of their family members, religious affiliations or beliefs. This one's a mouthful. Legally recognized privileged and analogous relationships, such as those with lawyers, medical personnel, or ministers, and income, except as required by law. Now I want to focus on that one part, this one right here, that talks about a psychological or psychiatric examination, test, or treatment where the intended effect is for the student to reveal more information about themselves or family members. What's a treatment? That definition can be used very broadly. In our example, Mr. Belding was giving advice that could be interpreted as a treatment. Showing them a video or giving them a pamphlet could also be considered giving them a treatment. If you're ever in the situation that Mr. Belding is in, we ask you to consider a few things. Now, the first thing is, can you legally talk about it? Now, if the subject that you're talking about with the student is mentioned on the list that we just showed you, you may want to stay away from it. There's a lot of gray area in this law, and we suggest that you err on the side of caution. There is nothing that prevents a student from spontaneously sharing their beliefs or their feelings, but you shouldn't be prodding or soliciting more information from them. Now, you're in a position of power and authority, and if you ask a student a question, they may feel obligated to answer that whether they want to or not. Now, the second thing you need to be asking yourself is, are you the best person to be handling this situation? Now, you may not be trained to handle situations like this, but there may be a counselor or a principal that's a little more qualified. These people should probably know the rules on how to handle these situations. Speaking of rules, if you or your school decides to give a survey to students that talks about any of those subjects, you're gonna have to do a few things first in order to make sure that's legal. Number one, they have to get parental permission. Number two, in Utah, parents have to be given at least a 2-week notice before they administer the survey. Parents can waive that 2-week notice, but you have to give them at least 2. Number three, parents have to be given a link or a physical copy about what the survey looks like and what questions it asks. Once those things have been done, you can then administer the survey. As a teacher, sometimes these topics are a part of the approved state standards. For example, you may be talking about political parties during history class. When you talk about these things, you shouldn't cause a student to reveal personal information about themselves or a family member. It's okay to be that cool teacher that incorporates rap into the lesson plans or lets them chew bubblegum in class. But don't try to be the cool teacher that tries to solve everyone's problems, especially problems at home. Now let's revisit our example with Mr. Belding and see how he should have responded to Jesse.
Well, I think I'm a Democrat. But I can't tell my parents because I know how they'll react.
I see. I know this is upsetting you, but I don't think I'm the most qualified person to talk to you about this. Maybe we should call one of the school counselors and see if they're available to talk to. They know a lot more about these kinds of situations than I do, and they are super chill. Let's call Mrs. Smith right now and see if she's available.
Thanks, Mr. Belding. You're the coolest.
I know.
Yes. Are we back on that? Okay. Okay, great. I just wanted to add, as soon as we started showing that, Greg texted us. Greg is out sick, and we made a slight change to that video yesterday afternoon, and it wasn't included in what you just saw. But due to some feedback we had received, there was a disclaimer at the beginning that states that the following video is satirizing how teachers are portrayed in television and movies and is not intended to be an accurate portrayal of professional teacher behavior. And also pointed out that we are just offering one of many possible solutions to handling this situation, and you should refer to your crisis management policy or other local policies to know who should be handling these kinds of situations. And then also at the end of the video, there was contact information for our office, which is something we're trying to make sure is at the end of every video. But that's the main change between what you just saw and the video as we're currently prepared to release it.
Any comments about the video? Is it clear? Is it something that you might use? Is it too silly?
I don't think it's silly enough.
Yeah, David never thinks it's silly enough. I don't see any. I don't know if I can even see any chat messages. Anyone out there? Anyone?
Is anyone
listening?
watching today?
Anyone listening?
Yeah. Do you have any?
Oh, it's not silly. We're going to show it.
Oh, great. Thanks, Carol.
Thanks, Carol. See, we like the positive feedback, right?
And if you have
So we're not-
less than positive feedback, even negative feedback, you can give that as well. I think acting is an A++. Oh, thanks, Greg.
Oh, Greg. Okay, well, thanks. And we are really looking for honest feedback. So if you do see a problem with anything that we develop, we want to be sensitive to that. So we will be posting this video on our website by the end of the week. It needs to be, we need the new version, needs to be rendered, and we'll let you know when it comes out.
Right, and we also, Greg and I produced a video on LastPass, which is a password manager, and how to set yourself up so that you can use that in order to have more secure passwords. And I believe we will, I don't know, Greg, you're in the chat right now. We don't have the link to it in the PowerPoint. If you want to give everyone a link so that they can watch that on their own time. It's a little bit longer. I think it's
12 minutes?
Yeah, because there's a lot more detailed step by step, and it is significantly sillier than what we just watched.
Yeah,
as well.
and I think there's a note on that video saying if you really want to get into the meat of how to do this, if you already understand what a password manager is, you can go to 3 minutes and 20 seconds. That's said in the video. But if you want to watch a little more explanation along with some references to
Pop culture. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, there we are. So watch that video when we're done with the webinar, please. And we made this because USBE staff, we were telling them about password managers, and they said, well, can you come show us how to set that up and do it? And we thought, well, maybe we'll just make a video and not go to 300 people and teach them how individually. So you're welcome to use this. Again, it's not a requirement. So just to summarize, data breaches and the response plan. What is a data breach? Can anyone answer that? That sounds like a trick question, doesn't it? Because I know what I thought a data breach was back in the day.
Right, and I think a lot of people, they think of, high-profile cases where, a hacker sends a phishing email, gets into the system, starts messing with things, and that certainly is a data breach.
So what happened in North Carolina?
Well, it was exactly that.
Well, it was a hacker, but how did they get in?
Well, yeah, it wasn't a hacker breaking through the firewall. It was a hacker being let in through the front door by someone clicking on an email. It was a spear phishing attack, I believe, is what I read. Was that it was someone received an email that looked like it was from a colleague, and so they clicked on the attachment.
And that's how they got in. So a data breach is just, go to the next slide, please, is an unauthorized release or disclosure of PII and this could be, it can be intentional, it can be unintentional. We have had some issues where some districts are giving student PII to the juvenile justice system. And I don't mean to just call them out, but
this happened recently.
It happened recently, and the schools typically, when students are educated into the justice system, they are under the care of the justice system. But in this case, it was before students were receiving services, and so any information including initials or SSID or just the student's first name is not allowable without parental consent, or if the student was already receiving services from JJS. The other thing that we want to note is that some of these districts received verbal parental consent, and it's clear under FERPA that it must be written, dated, and signed consent. It can be a digital signature, but verbal consent is not sufficient. And I would say that's really best practice anyway, if you do need a paper trail of the consent, especially when you're providing a government agency with information that it is a little more sensitive, such as these behavioral discipline issues with students. So so now that we know what a data breach is, we want to give you a little bit of feedback on what you need to do. First of all, have a written policy, and under our website, under LEA, at the very bottom, we actually have a model data breach policy that you're free to use. Included in that policy is a draft letter that you can send in case of a data breach. Review your systems where any PII are stored. I know here at USBE we are auditing access roles and want to make sure that that you don't have access to more data that is absolutely required by your job. And so we're looking at that. Monitor where the PII are, and number 4, we can't promote this more, but have frequent privacy and security awareness trainings. We've done that here at USBE. Since we've done that, there's been a lot more awareness of some security threats. Jared Hill, our IT security manager, gets forwarded emails asking if it is a phishing email, and I think it's great for us to know, not just for our work, but also just our lives as well. So we're helping folks, especially around the holiday time, understand that they should not, have was it Chrome remember their password, don't remember your credit card information. Not that you're shopping online, right? No, they're doing that at home. You can do that at home, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So the security awareness program, have some type of training, show them. We have our top 5 security video on our website as well that you can use. That's a 12-minute video, 9?
I don't remember.
I'm getting things.
Yeah, we try and always, we're always shooting for under 5 minutes, but it always ends up being like closer to 10.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So the next slide. This is what happened. This is what you need to do in responding to a data breach. And this is something that I stole from PTAC. They have a lovely checklist, and I'll in this PowerPoint will give you the link to that. But make sure to validate the data breach. Sometimes it's just hearsay. This was the case in with the unauthorized disclosure to JJS with these LEAs. As you know, some said that it wasn't a data breach. They didn't realize that disclosing just the first name was against the law. And so validate that it's actually happening. Assign folks to take leadership positions in responding to that, and assemble a team. Oftentimes, you as the data manager, you will be probably the most knowledgeable person on how to handle this, but certainly you would want to get leadership involved, IT involved, and perhaps your board. Look at the scope of the data breach. We had to do this with JJS. It was affecting some LEAs and not others. And then if a data breach has been found, you're required to notify the data owners, and that would be the students and the students' parents. You'll need to notify them that as soon as possible that the data was unauthorized and it was disclosed, and explain what data elements were disclosed and how you've remedied that. And we have a sample letter when you need to use that. Also, some things to consider is to reach out to us. We try to be, we've had LEAs reach out to us. You can hear in my descriptions, we're not telling you who they are. We try to keep things in-house and just let the pertinent people know. But reach out to us so that we can help with any resources or training or how to respond. Also, you can reach out to PTAC. You also need to know when to notify authorities. I know that PTAC has come out and given counsel on this. What happens if there's been a security breach and you notify law enforcement? What happens next?
No, I don't know.
What do they typically do? Let's say someone hacked into your computer. Oh,
law enforcement? They'll just come and they'll take all your hard drives.
Okay, and but you'll get them right back.
No.
No.
Maybe the following year.
We don't want to discourage you if law enforcement doesn't need to. They do need to be brought in from contacting them, but typically. They will take your devices, and it'll take them a very long time to investigate what's happened. So that is up to your local decision. But definitely investigate what happened. Notify again, and document all of the steps you've taken to respond to the data breach. I think we have more here. Okay, and as promised, here are data breach resources. There's a few very specific ones from the U.S. Department of Justice, electronic crime scene investigation. That's kind of pretty detailed, but we have the checklist. It's 14 pages. I just gave you the brief overview of it, but I think it's really helpful for you to be aware of this so that if and when something like this happens, you don't feel totally lost. You have a little bit of a handle. At least you have a resource to go to right away so that you respond appropriately. David.
All right, what to expect? Things we're working on at the close of the year here. So again, our goal with the videos was to produce a video every month. We've fallen a little behind on that. Our current plan is to produce a series of videos about FERPA exceptions, and actually our plan is to have each one be well under 5 minutes. We're actually shooting for just about 2 minutes for each one, where we'll cover the main FERPA exceptions, directory information, school official, audit evaluation.
And then other.
Well, studies, and then, yeah, probably others. So we're looking at probably like 5 short videos that just really quickly give you the information. We are coming up with some different ways that we can make those fun as well. And also hoping to create some quiz questions that will be able to accompany them, so you can quiz yourself or your friends. I don't know. If it's a slow week. But they potentially could be used for teachers. But honestly, with a lot of the FERPA exceptions, a lot of it ends up certainly like the audit evaluation exception or the studies exception, probably a little more pertinent toward administration or the data manager. But we want to produce them, and if you like them, you can use them as you see fit. I'll let Whitney, the guidebook's a little bit more of your baby, so
Sure.
talk about that.
Yes. I want a single source that data managers can go to when they have questions about data privacy. And so the goal is to have this published by June 30th. And I think we'll be able to do it. We've already been working on an outline to what will be included, so that when questions come in, we've already kind of thought things through, and we'll be able to provide you with, the page and examples of where that information is. And of course, we'll make this available to you. I think we plan on printing copies of this, but probably upon request, it'll be digitally available, because we'll be embedding a lot of links to, state law. We don't want to reinvent the wheel on this, but we want it to be very thorough and very helpful to you, and so it will be the first of its kind, a guidebook. The next thing that has come up is grant money for LEAs, and I don't believe we've mentioned it on the webinar before, but David and I will be working on certain metrics that LEAs can reach to apply for money based on the work that they've done. It probably will be related to the metadata dictionary, but we don't want to promise that quite yet. We have a number of user groups, or groups. One of them is a user group that consists of a number of LEAs. Kevin's on that group as well. And so we want to make the application process as easy as possible, so that you don't have to spend hours and hours on an application just to receive a little bit of money. But we're trying to have some of the money flow through because of the burden that the Student Data Protection Act has been on LEAs, at least to get compliant initially is kind of a heavy lift. David, upgrades.
Yes. So the metadata dictionary, as you all know, is a very large task that you're currently being asked to do. And so this, as many of you know, was originally developed, was it last summer?
By
it went online?
June 30th, it was done.
Yeah, and available to you. And we never, really had the opportunity to get it, really user tested, for example, for people to go in and be like, oh, I wish it could do this, or ooh, this could have worked a little bit better, or even just little bugs that came up. The contract with the developer ended, and we didn't actually have anyone to work on it. Until yesterday we actually contracted the work out again, and yesterday was the first day. He actually made a lot of quick changes. They're not live yet. But kind of the point being is I've already received lots of feedback from LEAs on things they see in the metadata dictionary that are not working correctly, or that they wish could do something, a certain something, so that it would work more efficiently. And the point right now is, one, those changes are coming. We will let you know. I imagine the ones that were worked on yesterday within the next week or two will hopefully go live. And we have some other ones that are going to take a little bit more time to get in there, but we want this to be as useful and painless of a tool for you to use as possible. So if you have been in there and the sky's the limit. If there's something that's like, oh, I wish it could have done it this way, or if it worked like this, it would have made my life much easier. Please email me. We can make it happen. We control the tool. We have someone finally who is actually able to work on it, and we just need to know what sort of things you would like to see in it so that we can make it just that much better.
Yeah. The other thing that we're working on is the educator relicensure course. Board Rule R277487 has this as a relicensing requirement for educators, and so we might want a course to go along with that. Greg will be working on that, and this next year, I'm thinking this will be more in the fall. Again, we would like. It seemed like most of the folks, when we asked them if they would like the student data privacy conference again, that many of them said that they did, and we're happy to do that again. We're really grateful to those that flew in from other states to provide great presentations, and I learned a lot from the districts that came and presented. And one thing I've learned is that what Pat Bush told me was that we can work really well with the LEAs that are doing great in some aspects of the Student Data Protection Act, and work together with them to help the entire state. And so I think learning from what great work the LEAs are doing was very valuable to us. And yeah, I'm very proud of the quality of the presentations at the conference, and think it was a great learning opportunity for me personally.
Oh, certainly. And what I wanted to say about so the next conference, we're last time around, we were a little rushed in terms of finding a venue, and we had some presenters in mind. We didn't have a real proper, call for presentations, and we've got a lot more time basically to plan for it this time around, and we've got all of us have, I think, some more experience under our belts. Yeah. And I know, I appreciated the out-of-time presentations. I thought the local ones as well, hearing what other districts were doing and how they were struggling and figuring out how to be in compliance with the laws was fantastic, and we want more of that. So certainly if you are interested in sharing, again, we've kind of talked about it. I don't know that we will have an official call for presentations, but certainly if you are interested in sharing some of your experiences with data privacy, we would love to make this an even bigger, better, more local conference, certainly. Yeah. And with that as well, we have more time to book better venues, perhaps. It's really hard with short notice to get a good venue in Salt Lake City.
And short notice was 5 months.
Yeah.
Apparently
a year out is what you need.
Yeah, so we can start planning.
And so I'm sure there will be one most likely in Salt Lake County somewhere. And we know that there was certainly interest in doing something in southern Utah again, but certainly if you have recommendations regarding what would be a good location to hold it, or other venues, or if you like the venues, if you liked having it at SUU or having it at the city library here in Salt Lake City, we can certainly make arrangements for that again. But this is your conference. This is a service we are hoping to provide for you, and so any input you can give us to make it better, any ideas you have, please let us know.
Well, thanks. I think those are kind of our main goals for 2018. Yeah. This next slide, we don't know if this will.
We promised it a while ago, and then just kind of forgot about it.
I don't think we advertised it very well, but David and I, and also our IT security manager, Jared Hill, will be at your beck and call this afternoon from 1 to 4 in Basement West here at USBE. And if you would like to bring your data governance plan, IT security plan, talk about training, maybe metadata dictionary, we're going to be at your disposal. And we also have a link where you can call in.
Yeah, we will have a WebEx link, and Melissa sent it to me yesterday. It's not here on the slide.
Okay.
But I can get that and put it in the chat.
Okay. But this is for really one-on-one assistance that you might have, and so it's if you want to call in through WebEx, you can do that, or you can just come to USBE, and we will sit down and work with you for as long as you need. We will help you write your data governance plan, enter in information, anything you would like. So we're
essentially office hours.
Office hours,
yeah.
Yes.
So we will be here if get in touch with us, and we going to dedicate those 3 hours to anything that you need. If you like this idea, but you feel like, oh, wait a second, this is the first I've heard of it, I apologize for that. Again, as we said, like we talked about it last month, but then we had to plan a whole conference and make that happen. So we apologize if we didn't get the word out. But if this is the kind of thing that maybe not today, but at some future date you would be interested in, again, please let us know, and we can look at trying to do it again, but maybe with better timing. Yeah, that looks like it would be it. Okay. Whitney's putting, so there will be a WebEx link. She's trying to add into the chat. It didn't copy over.
Let's see. Copy hyperlink. I gotcha. Oh, it said privately to Jerry Record. Send to everyone. Mistake.
All right.
There we go. So I think that's all we have on our agenda.
Yeah.
Is that all? Oh, it looks like we're going to end early today. So so our next webinar will be
January.
January. We might not do it the first. Well, we will let you know. We'll have to look at our calendars. But have a great holiday, and we'll see you later.
Stay warm.